don't necessarily want to be on reality TV. You know, like I said, I never thought about being on a reality TV show. I always thought about just being in movies and you know, I really want to be in a movie where I can just be myself as Tanya, or not even as Tanya.
This is for real, y'all. So let's do this. We know what we gotta do. Sometimes we gotta suck it up. You ain't gotta be her best friend.
It's hard, just knowing that, especially when we're all together, because sometimes when you film one-on-one with others, that happens.
This is going to hit different. We all know that Little Women Atlanta had its share of drama, but what happened behind the scenes is even crazier. The cast is finally opening up and telling the truth, and trust me, it's way more shocking than anything we ever saw on TV. From producers pushing them to the limit to dealing with real mental stress and being taken advantage of, these women didn't just walk away with drama, they walked away with scars. What they are revealing now is unbelievable. Stick around because this story is just beginning, and believe me, you're going to want to hear every single detail. Let's start with the really juicy stuff, and no, I'm not talking about Miss Juicy. The show was known for its explosive fights and wild confrontations, but what if I told you those moments weren't all real? The cast has come forward to share some shocking details about what was going on behind the scenes. They say producers pushed them to create drama just to get more screen time. According to multiple sources, the cast was pressured into pretending to fight or risk being written off the show completely. If you watched the show, you know how tense things would get, especially when Miss Juicy and Ms. Minnie were going head to head. Those arguments were some of the most talked about moments, but now the cast is saying there was a lot more going on than what we saw. They're revealing things that will make you look at the show in a whole new way.
Anything that I want to do.
Is there a problem?
Your problem is you need to stay back over
No,
there.
I will stay right here. I will
Why would
stay
I
right
argue
here.
with you over
I will
that?
stay right here. I will stay
You know
right
what?
here.
I don't have time for that.
What if those intense moments were actually staged? Industry insiders have pointed out that the tactics used to get the cast to fight were similar to shows like Bad Girls Club and Love and Hip Hop. These reality TV giants are known for creating drama to boost ratings, even if it means manipulating the cast into fake fights. Some cast members have even spoken up about the real-life injuries and trauma they faced when the fights weren't just for the cameras.
Oh, girl, baby.
Okay.
I'm bleeding.
Juice is bleeding.
It's cool, y'all. It's just one of me.
And if you think the drama was just part of the job, think again. Some of the cast members were forced to stay on edge, constantly walking that fine line between real tension and fake beefs. It's a lot harder than it looks when your livelihood depends on playing a role that's not completely your own. Now let's talk about money, or the lack of it. Despite the show's huge success, some of the cast were paid far less than you'd expect. Some even had to take on second jobs just to make ends meet while filming. Leaked contracts show just how restrictive these deals were, with clauses that supposedly stopped cast members from pursuing outside income, trapping them in a cycle of exploitation.
I got a real job that I'm about to go to.
I do have a
so
real job.
where I get paid.
Bye, hating ass bitch. That's the devil.
If that wasn't bad enough, the producers didn't seem to care much about the mental health of the cast. In fact, several cast members felt manipulated, with producers more focused on ratings than their well-being. So, were they exploited for entertainment? The evidence suggests yeah. Reality TV is known for being stressful, but the mental toll on the Little Women Atlanta cast was much worse than anyone could have imagined. Anxiety, depression, and constant stress. That was the real battle. And here's the kicker. Producers allegedly didn't offer any mental health support, either during or after filming. One cast member even reportedly checked into a mental health facility during a filming break. Can you imagine being under that much pressure, constantly having your life exposed for millions to see? Let's not forget Miss Juicy and Money Cachet, who've both been outspoken about how tough fame was on their mental health. The constant trolling, the hateful comments, it felt like living in a psychological war zone. The emotional strain was all too real.
My mother, you don't care, I love my mom, but I'm saying that's what care about my mom.
One of the biggest downfalls of being on Little Women Atlanta was the impact it had on the cast's real-life relationships. A lot of people don't realize that the romantic storylines on reality TV are often made up, so imagine being in a real relationship and watching your partner flirt with someone else on screen because it's part of a scripted storyline. That's exactly what happened to one cast member, who allegedly found out about her partner's infidelity after seeing it air on the show. The tiny twins, Amanda and Andrea, also had their own share of love drama, with one sister caught up in a messy, on-again, off-again relationship. Meanwhile, Monty Cachette's marriage and eventual divorce were featured as part of her storyline, but it wasn't all fake. She was truly struggling. Watching her marriage fall apart in front of millions was tough, and the emotional toll of having her private life picked apart by the public only made everything worse.
Years under divorce. It's gone. It's a wrap. Enjoying every bit of my peace.
In true reality TV style, friendships weren't much better. The famous fallouts between Miss Juicy and Miss Minnie were heartbreaking, especially after Minnie's untimely passing. While the show continued without her, many cast members, including Miss Juicy and Minnie, admitted they struggled to cope with her death. It was even harder to watch her funeral aired on the show's final season. The emotional impact of losing a close friend while having their grieving process exposed to millions was something they never expected to experience. But even more devastating were the fractured friendships, like Mooney's complicated relationship with Miss Juicy, which seemed to drag on long after the cameras stopped rolling. Have you ever watched those heart-to-heart moments and thought, are they for real? Well, sometimes the answer is no. Cast members have revealed that some friendships were actually forced for the sake of a storyline. Producers allegedly manipulated the cast into pretending to be friends or even convinced them to hate each other to create more drama. So, yeah, those heated arguments you saw? A lot of it was scripted chaos. Behind the scenes, these cast members were often pushed into uncomfortable situations that left them emotionally drained.
Come on! Did they call you little bitches? Did they call you little bitches? This is not the place or the time for it. Stop!
And that's not the only thing that came to light. Allegedly, the work conditions on Little Women Atlanta were downright unsafe for the reality stars, with some even getting injured in the process. It seems like the show might have been cutting corners when it came to the safety of its cast, and the fallout from that could have been disastrous. Production allegedly refused to adjust the sets to accommodate cast members with dwarfism, which is just mind-blowing. This is a show that centers on individuals with dwarfism, yet basic adjustments to the set were reportedly ignored. Instead, cast members had to work in an environment that wasn't designed for their physical needs, leading to injuries and, at the very least, a lot of unnecessary stress. Then there's the really shady part. Leaked emails suggest the production crew ignored multiple safety complaints. Can you imagine? People asking for safer conditions, only for their complaints to get brushed aside. One cast member reportedly slipped and fell during a scene, and get this, there were no medics on site to help. That's a huge red flag right there.
Ready? You turn the car on. Ah! What?
Wait a minute.
And if you thought it couldn't get worse, well, it does. A former crew member who worked on the show allegedly said the conditions were so bad, they described it as a lawsuit just waiting to happen. That's a huge admission. If people on the inside are calling it a disaster just waiting to unfold, that's a major red flag. Now, here's the part that adds a whole new layer to the story. Rumor has it that a major R&B singer, someone with serious industry connections, privately reached out to one of the Little Women Atlanta stars with a warning. The alleged message was simple: get out while you still can. This wasn't just some casual advice. It sounds like a real wake-up call. The question is, who sent the message? Speculation points to Kandi Burruss, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, star with ties to Bravo, the network that aired Little Women Atlanta. Kandi's been in the reality TV game long enough to know how brutal it can be, so it wouldn't be surprising if she stepped in to offer some guidance. After all, reality TV can be toxic, and if someone like Candy saw the signs, it makes sense she'd want to warn the cast. And it doesn't stop there. Little Women Atlanta and other shows like it have faced a ton of criticism. Many people believe these kinds of reality shows might actually make stereotypes worse and care more about creating drama than showing the real lives of the cast. Is the focus really on telling their true stories, or is it just about getting the most shocking moments to keep people watching? For example, back in 2017, Refinery29 published an article asking, is the show just using its cast for drama instead of telling their real, meaningful stories? This isn't just one opinion. Lots of people feel these shows focus way more on making things dramatic and less on showing who these stars really are. It's entertainment, but at whose expense? And it doesn't end there. In 2019, Desiree Lindsay posted a blog about Little Women Dallas and had some strong opinions. She called the show voyeuristic, meaning it's more about watching people's private lives for entertainment than actually telling their stories. She also pointed out how the show sometimes portrays the cast in an X-rated and racialized way, using them for drama instead of showing them respect. It's not just about them being real people. It's about making a show people will talk about. And that's where things start to feel wrong. Not everyone agrees with this. Tara Hole, a big name on the show, spoke out in 2019. She told Page 6 that even though being famous on reality TV is tough, the show has helped more people notice and accept little people. She said the show made people with dwarfism more visible, which helped reduce some of the stigma. While this is a good point, the way it's done still makes people question whether it's respectful enough. Some viewers feel pretty uncomfortable with how it all plays out. Even people who watched all 2 seasons have said it feels predatory and disrespectful. For one, many of the girls on the show are barely under 21, with some even younger. And the show includes sensitive content just to stir up more drama. It's clear that the producers know how to make things explode just for shock value. There's also the way the show treats the little people community. It's disrespectful. They're shown in ways that don't help people understand their real lives, but instead make them look like entertainment for others. Hollis Andrews, who was supposed to be one of the stars on Little Women LA, even quit the show because she felt it was mistreating little people in Hollywood. She believed the way people with dwarfism were being treated wasn't right. And honestly, it's hard to argue with her. No one should have to deal with that just to be on TV. Now that the cameras are off, what are the Little Women Atlanta cast doing today? Some have managed to keep a relatively low-key life, while others have continued to chase the fame the show brought them. Miss Juicy remains a media personality, always flaunting her iconic catchphrase, "It's Miss Juicy, baby." Meanwhile, the Tiny Twins have focused on their influencer careers, continuing to stir up drama on social media. Money, on the other hand, has used her platform to speak out on issues that are close to her heart, leaving the reality TV drama behind. But for many of the cast, the scars of Little Women Atlanta will never fully heal. The emotional, physical, and financial toll of being on a reality show has left many with lingering questions about exploitation and the price of fame. So what do you think? Were the women of Little Women Atlanta taken advantage of by the show? Do you think the producers went too far, or was it all just part of the reality TV game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and hey, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any juicy updates. Trust me, this saga is just getting started, and I'll be right here bringing you the latest.